Hey guys, it's Stu here. I felt I needed to put a warning at the beginning of this video. You're about to watch a news story from the BBC, The Guardian and from Sky News. It's the same news story 3 times, all from a different perspective, and that's what we're going to break down. It does contain a lot of shouting and a gentleman being physically restrained, and if that kind of stuff upsets you, then it's maybe best you give this video a hard pass, and I will catch you on the next one. Other than that, enjoy this episode of Cut for Cut. Hi, I'm Stu, and welcome back to my occasional series Cut for Cut, where we break down a video and take a closer look. Today, this one's for all my Mojo subscribers, and we're going to be looking at a video clip from the BBC News, but we're also going to compare it to The Guardian newspaper and Sky News, and just see what the differences an edit can make to a news story. So let's get started.
Go on!
Calm yourself down.
Get out of my pub!
Calm down. Sorry, can you keep out of the way?
Thank you. I'm sorry, I am the landlord. He's the landlord. That man is not allowed in my pub. He's the landlord. I'm not going to physically hurt him. That man... Oi! That's assault. I am not bothering you. I am not bothering him. That man is not allowed in my pub. Get out of my pub. Go on.
Calm yourself down.
Get out of my pub.
Calm down. Sorry, can you keep out of the way?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I came here to speak to this man, not your security. You have failed me.
Thank you.
I've been a Labour voter my entire life. You have failed to be the opposition. You have failed to ask whether lockdown was functioning.
Just behind. Can we just
Do you understand?
Shall we go on in?
Thousands of people have died because you have failed to do your job and ask the real questions. Well, I am telling you now, and I hope this goes out, you have failed this country.
Well, somebody came up to me, and from what I could understand, he profoundly didn't believe that we should have had a lockdown. He didn't believe there should be restrictions, and he queried to some extent, I think, whether there's a pandemic at all. Now, obviously, he's entitled to that view. I'm afraid I profoundly disagree. I think most people across the country would profoundly disagree.
Now that you've watched the clip, let's break it down. Now, I've got the BBC clip here in orange on my timeline. There are 4 sections, so 3 cuts into the video. Call the first one the hook. That's to get you interested in what's going on. And obviously,
Get out of my pub! Go on!
Calm yourself down.
a man shouting and somebody saying calm down is like, oh, what's going on here? It's a bit like when you go past a car crash and you want to have a look and see what's going on. Rubbernecking. Well, this is the video version of rubbernecking. We then go on to a longer version of the clip, and then we go into both the MP and the gentleman chatting. And then finally, we've got a little segment interview with the MP. Now, this MP is the leader of the Labour Party. I'm not really going to talk about the politics of what's going on here. The argument's about the COVID lockdown restrictions in the UK, and that's not my bugbear with this video clip. It's more to do with how things have been ordered. Got no problems with the first section, and it's quite interesting to see that during the cuts, they're actually using a little flash cut
Thank you!
to transition into the next video clip. Now, that itself is something that's started to kind of come through, especially with mobile journalism and things like that, more so than I've ever seen before, but it's quite a fun way of transitioning for a news clip. Then we've got another flash cut, and then finally we go into that interview segment. This is the point where whoever edited this for the BBC has done things correctly, but with what all's going on in the video, you miss it the first time you watch it, which is the lower third here says Rod Humphries, the landlord, obviously the gentleman who's doing an awful lot of shouting, had confronting him before he entered. But the video implies that Keir Starmer had entered the guy's pub. But the way this video plays out, especially since you've got the hook, and then the argument itself, which runs for 29 seconds, and then the debate out front runs for 28 seconds. It gives you the impression that they tried to get into the pub first, then afterwards they argued outside, and that's actually not the case. And then there's the interview with Keir, but you're not getting the landlord's side of the story, so it's kind of one-sided. What we're going to look at now is the Guardian's version of the same story and see how they handled it.
I came here to speak to this man, not your security. You have failed me.
Thank you.
I've been a Labour voter my entire life. You have failed to be the opposition. You have failed to ask whether lockdown was functioning.
Just behind. Can we just
Do you understand?
Shall we go on in?
Thousands of people have died because you have failed to do your job and ask the real questions. Well, I am telling you now, and I hope this goes out, you have failed this country. You have.
They've been on the front line keeping people alive. So I really don't need lectures from you about this pandemic.
You've got one. 1 minute. Why? Can we come in? Is it okay?
What are you doing?
Here's the landlord.
Okay, you get the general gist of what's going on there now. It's pretty much the same as you've watched already. What we've got here is a little bit more information. We've got the argument happening outside, then they start to go in and you see more of the argument. I'm not going to bother guessing who's right and who's wrong in this situation. The politics are irrelevant here, and hence the scuffle then happens. So we're at that point. Now if we just slide things along, what I want to do is look at the final set of clips. So we've got Sky News' version, and depending on whether you watched the BBC, Sky News, or the Guardian online, so depending where you got your news from, you're going to get a different perspective of what actually played out here. And the interesting thing about Sky is that they give even more information.
Do you know what the average age of death with COVID is, according to official national statistics?
The Guardian and the BBC chose to not use this particular segment, whereas Sky did one of two things. They either chose to run the video clip without fact checking it, or they got it fact checked to make sure what that guy's saying is at least accurate enough that nobody's going to get into bother from presenting this.
It's 82 years and 3 months. The average age of death normally, 81 years. Do you understand? Because old people are dying. Do you see this graph?
Another reason I think the BBC editor didn't use this particular video clip is because
The last line has
this.
this much death.
There's a lot of camera movement and
2008.
reframing for
That's
whatever
the
reason.
British Medical Journal. No, I came here to speak to this man, not your security. You have failed.
And that then takes us up to the segment that the BBC do use.
Bloody easy to take exciting for Monday. I'm sorry, I am the landlord. That man is not.
Okay, again we'll stop it here because we've seen this part of the story. Now the final bit I want to talk about is the lower third that we looked at earlier on when Keir Starmer is giving his interview to the BBC. Okay, whoever decided putting a black lower third over what is probably one of the darkest parts of this particular scene, when you've got the road below it, lovely and bright, move it down to where it should have been in the first place, level with Sir Keir Starmer's shoulder, and you've got yourself a lower third that works. This is sloppy work, either by the editor, journalist, intern, whoever it was that did this video. I mean, it's old news in a day, but it's also sloppy journalism, and it really should have been moved down because people tend to notice these things, and also PR people for the likes of the Labour Party will also notice that they did this and could cause hassle down the line for them. Anyway, that's me finished this deep dive. In an ideal world, I think the video should have been the hook at the beginning like the BBC did, but the content from the Sky News report with maybe a little bit more of what you saw in the Guardian's version would have been the perfect length for this story. I believe, in hindsight, the landlord, Rob Humphreys, didn't actually know that the Labour Party were doing a photo op inside his pub, and it was his business partner that had arranged it, so this is where all this stemmed from, which, like most things, is miscommunication. But these are the things that I've said to try us. Hope you've enjoyed this breakdown. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring the notification bell. I will catch you on the next video tutorial very, very soon. Bye!